Go.
Hey guys, we're gonna go over machine checkout now for the Narkomed. And the first thing you want to do with any machine checkout is you want to come and check your backup E-cylinder to make sure that it has oxygen. This of course isn't an oxygen tank, but you would want to make sure that your E-cylinder, your backup cylinder, had 1,000 psi minimum. You're going to go ahead and check your ambu bag, make sure it can hold positive pressure and that it can bring in air. You also want to go ahead and check all of your connections first thing. Make sure everything's connected and that your machine's plugged in. While I'm back here, I'm going to go ahead and open up my air. Crack it open for a few seconds and close it. We have a special note here for oxygen. This machine has 2 E-cylinders for oxygen. This can be on any machine, new or old. What you want to do is you open up the first one, close it, and check the pressure. So this one is a little under 2,000 psi. Now if I open up the next one, I'm not going to know what my pressure is, and I'm going to explain that real quick to you. When you open up the first cylinder, it pressurizes all of these lines. The only way to relieve that pressure is to allow it to flush out of the system. However, this valve will not open up until we disconnect the pipeline, and then the pressure on this side will be less than 50 psi when we push the O2 flush valve. That will release all this pressure here, bring the gauge down to 0, and then we can open up our second cylinder. That's going to pressurize everything, give us a second reading, and that's how you get the 2 different readings for 2 cylinders. And I'm going to prove that right here. So I'm going to disconnect, come around here, push my O2 flush, and you're going to see that go down. And then I'm going to open up my second cylinder, open it up, close it. Now this one didn't have any pressure in it, but if it had pressure you would see it go there. And I'm going to show you again to prove that. We're going to open this one. It goes to about 2,000 again. I'm going to plug in my oxygen. And when you watch me push the O2 flush valve this time, that pressure will never go down. That's why we disconnect our pipeline pressures. So this machine doesn't have a low pressure check, a low pressure system check, but we still want to make sure that we fill up our vaporizers and that we check the interlock system. If you ever come across these old ones, you twist this knob, there's a little seal, pour it in here and close it, and then you just check the interlock system. And then it fills up here. So we just want to make sure we're in a line. So that's how you do it. Make sure these are all tight. Check your interlock systems. More than likely on these machines, you're going to have these vaporizers here. This has their key fill. This is your funnel fill and your desflurane. So same thing, you want to make sure that the interlock system is working. So now that we've checked that, we can go ahead and turn on our machine. On this machine, we want to make sure that this knob is changed or is flipped to all gases. We want to make sure that the machine is in bag mode, which it is. We're going to go ahead and take this. We're going to, it's a bag mode, but first, like the other one, we want to go ahead and check our flow meters. So we're going to take our air first, go all the way up. Special note on this machine, as you notice, you can't turn on the nitrous without the oxygen being on. So no matter what you do, it's not going to raise. So you turn your nitrous off, you increase your oxygen first, and you can check your 3-to-1 ratio by moving the ball in the center of the line to 1, and your nitrous oxide will go up to 3, which it does no matter how much I turn it. Raise it to 2, it's going to go to 6. Raise it to 3, it'll go to 9, and then that's how you check. We're going to take this all the way up. That works, doesn't get stuck. As I turn it off, it will bring down the nitrous. Also, another note, make sure that you turn your nitrous off, because if you forget to do this, as soon as you turn oxygen on, it's going to turn on your nitrous. So always remember to turn off your nitrous. Now we're going to go ahead and check our breathing circuit. No, I'm sorry. Now we're going to go and check our O2 calibration. And I remember that by the last thing I touch is the oxygen, so now I need to check the O2 calibration. On this machine, you just open it up to air, push O2 cal, and it says calibrating. For this purpose, we're not going to wait for it to calibrate, we're going to stick it back on. We're going to go ahead and grab the end. This you have to occlude with your thumb or with your hand. And you're going to fill it up with air. Oops, I'm sorry. Close your APL valve. And on this machine, you just turn it all the way to the right, righty-tighty. It's opposite of the arrow. Make sure it can hold at 30, which it does. And I'm going to go ahead and decrease this high alarm down to 40. Now I want to make sure that I hear two alarms, a sustained and a high pressure alarm. So there goes our high pressure and our sustained high pressure alarm. So we know that both of those alarms are working. We're going to open up the APL valve. It should go down slowly, open it all the way up. Now with the APL valve all the way open, we're going to push O2 flush. Make sure that it does not go over 10 centimeters of H2O, which it doesn't. So we're good here. Now we're going to put it in vent mode. To do that, you flip the switch, turn it on, and move your back over here. So we're good there. We're going to go ahead and fill up our bellows. That gives a little bit more. There we go. So we just let that sit for a minute while you do your check. While that's kind of doing its thing, I like to come back here and check the scavenging system. Right here, we just need to make sure that that little ball is in the middle of those two lines, and you can control that here. I'm also going to check my CO2 canisters to make sure that that's okay. And I'm going to check my inspiratory and expiratory valves to make sure that they're working, which both of those are. I'd set my tidal volume here. I want to make sure that the machine is getting pretty close to it. It takes a few breaths, but it'll get there. You also might have to turn on some flows. I'm making sure that the bellows, there's no leak. It continues to go all the way up to the top. And now I'm going to go ahead and check my disconnect alarm. To do that, you just open this up. You just let that come here. Give it a minute. Should say. And there goes our alarm here, so we know that that's good. So we have two different alarms. That's what we're looking for on this machine. It says apnea pressure and volume. So now that those alarms work, we can go ahead and flip this back over to bag mode and turn off our ventilator. And then we're going to go ahead and check our... We're going to check our suction. Turn that to full. Make sure that it can hold suction, which it does. Same on this machine, we need to make sure that the white hose is at the top of the canister, the suction canister. Then we can go ahead and make sure that we can regulate the suction, which we can. Put this back on. Make sure we always put it back to full. We can include it here. So before we leave, we want to make sure it's on bag mode. We want to make sure that our mask is on, and we want to make sure that the APL valve is completely open, which it is. And we are good to go, and that's how you do the machine checkout.